a minute. Each time I see a difference.
Hi everybody, we're sitting with the rather lovely Neon Vines. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here. This is awesome.
Thank you. I have the flu, which is why I've been apologising, so I'm going to give you the elbow rather than the handshake.
Yep.
How have you been enjoying NAMM? Because we're in...
It's been crazy. Yeah, really crazy, but really good, especially for the networking. But next year I'm going to have to do some thinking as far as performances because it was pretty hectic.
How many performances did you do?
I think it was like 8 or 9, but 30-minute sets and running between booths to do that is kind of
And you're doing
demanding.
it entirely on your own, no help?
Yep, all on my
Wow.
own. Yeah.
It has been a pretty crazy NAMM.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you been to any before?
I went last year. Yeah, but last year was way different for me because I was with Akai and they have like a private suite and it's very calm and chill and quiet and nice. So I didn't really get the full-on NAMM experience, but yeah, this year has been crazy.
So I presume you use Akai products?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so last year I did the Akai Forest launch.
Right.
So that's why I was there, but yep. That's me.
How did you stumble into doing this? What was your trajectory?
I guess the interesting thing is that electronic music and any kind of electronic instruments are pretty recent for me because I come from an acoustic background. So I studied classical piano from the age of 6 through high school, drumline through high school, marimba randomly.
Wonderful.
Here and there. I was competing in a world-class drumline on marimba actually. And I think that the skills I developed on marimba actually were very essential for the Seaboard technique.
Wonderful.
Because the Seaboard is my main thing, I guess, that people associate me with now.
Right.
And you have to be very accurate with placement because you can play between pitches on the keys. Mm-hmm. So your body placement is very critical to playing technique. Mm-hmm. So I find that with marimba, it's the same kind of thing because a marimba is a 10-foot long instrument. So you have to be very aware of where your body is and it has to be in the middle of your playing and everything like that. So I feel like that technique really helped me.
There's a lot of really cool EDM and dance music out there, which I like.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is very sound design.
Yeah.
But sure. You have sound design, but you also have a musicality.
Yeah.
So I think relying on sound design doesn't thrill me at all. I want to hear a melody. I want to hear a tune.
Exactly. But I don't know. I've always been trying to find where I wanted to be in music because I knew I wanted music to be in my life, obviously. I didn't know for a long time, though, if it would be a hobby or if it would be a full-on career. And even if it was a career, I didn't know what that would look like for me because I just experimented with a lot of different things musically. I sang in a wedding band. I performed at retirement homes and nursing homes and things like that. Sampled
I did all
a bunch
those
of
same
different...
kind of things.
Did you really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I did working men's clubs in the north of England when I was 16 or 17 years old.
Nice.
And I feel like that was a fast track because...
Yeah.
When you're doing covers, people look down on doing covers. Yeah. It's no.
Yeah.
You're hearing chord sequences and melodies and harmonies written by some of the greatest songwriters of all time.
Totally.
As much as I love writing on my own, I learn more by playing other people's songs.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. But I will say that playing the same songs every night gets to be a lot. So
it can be soul-destroying, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my interests were just deviating and I was trying to sort of find my place. And then I ended up being after college, I was well, I got to make money. I got to figure this out for myself because music, I didn't know what I was doing. Right. So I got a full-time job working in a cubicle in DC, answering emergency service calls over the phone.
Wow, very admirable.
Very intense job. Very intense. And it was so demanding that after work, the last thing I wanted to do is create and be creative. I just wanted to escape. So after a year of doing that, I just kind of went crazy. I was I never realized how much I needed music in my life until I actually couldn't do it. Like, you know, I could, I guess, but like, you have to be mentally present in order to write a song. It's not just about having time allocated for it. It's about like, you know, having that creative energy. So yeah, I just was zapped of that and it was kind of killing me. So I was like, you know, I got to get out of here. I'm going to go to Austin, Texas. Never been there before.
Oh, wait, so you're not from Austin? Where are you
Well,
from?
I was in DC. Childhood in Houston, like teenage years in DC.
Right. DC has a rich kind of punk and hardcore scene.
Yeah, they do.
Is that still prevalent?
It's a lot of clubbing stuff too. Like that's kind of the main, I guess, impression that I got from it. But I didn't really go downtown that much, to be honest.
To the 930.
Yeah, well, 930 Club for sure. That's the best club.
Were you involved in the DC scene in any way?
Not really. I was any kind of work that I did was sort of on the outskirts, like Alexandria area, which is pretty much DC, but I mean, Northern Virginia area is where I would perform. Yeah.
Fantastic. So then you decide to get up and move to Austin, which of course is a wonderful music town.
Of course, and that's like the only reason I went there because honestly, I'd never been there, didn't know anyone there, just always heard good things and was like, oh my gosh, I just needed a change.
So you hadn't been to South by Southwest? And
no, I had never been to any of that, but I just needed a drastic change. And I just had all my stuff shipped there, didn't know where I was going to end up living. Ended up getting like what I called Banana Cabana, which was the yellowest house ever, like blindingly yellow. This tiny little shack, like my brother fell through the floor a couple times. Like it was barely standing, but I loved that house. It was amazing. And I feel like that was like the beginning for me where I really started to figure out what I wanted to do. And I think it was inspired by just exploring Austin and seeing like a lot of kind of hybrid electronic acts where like they have acoustic elements and there's people maybe playing a violin.
Great.
And then having a drum machine in front of them. That combination for me was really intriguing.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope that becomes more mainstream.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
what I'm sort of looking for.
Definitely.
I had a lot of conversations about it when we did our AES panels. Here, was an AES component. We did 4 panels in a row.
Yeah.
A lot of panels. And I sort of feel that there's a sort of, if you go back to the early mid-90s, you had Massive Attack and Portishead and all these artists that were able to blend organic instruments with program stuff and with samples and things. And it seems to have disappeared.
Yeah.
Now it's all, they just don't seem to work together anymore.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, because like there's a lot of people that just kind of like with the electronic stuff, you can just push a button and your whole set just plays. I mean, there's a lot of people that really are just kind of like, you know, barely, it's just playback. Sure. So for me, like, I'm just trying to introduce like those elements, yes, because they sound so good and the production quality is incredible, but combining it with a little more flexibility, you know, in performance, a little improv, things that are more acoustic in nature and spontaneous.
Yeah, the random, or I like to say the wrongify. When you record a real instrument, you know, it's not the perfect sample. The other thing as well, I make this joke all the time, the instruments I have are my instruments that I have. So nobody else has that sound, but now everybody has the flexibility to go, oh, you want the most famous orchestra in the world in the most incredible sounding room. We all have access to that now. When I was a kid, that was like the holy grail, you know, you had to have a $500,000 budget, you know, and you know, and to make it, even be able to make an album with even one quartet on, let alone
that's crazy.
So, but what was good about that is you would go somewhere, you'd record something, and that was your recording. So I think for a lot of people, they're looking for ways to randomize, to make something their own. It's
because, like, electronic music, love it, but it tends to be very sterile in expression, in emotion, and feel overall, because everything's quantized, everything's pitch corrected, everything's so perfect. But yeah, to introduce some kind of fluidity.
What is your DAW of choice?
Ableton.
I was wondering, you see, because the thing about Ableton, and I'm a Pro Tools guy. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. So Pro Tools when I started using DAWs was just so far ahead, at least for audio and audio editing. Yeah. But my experiences with Ableton are insane. I worked with Salam Remy a couple of years ago on a some One Direction stuff, and he would just like record everything and just dump it into Ableton, and then create MIDI tracks from stuff. And so suddenly the bass line was playing the high melody, and we were creating harmonies from everything. It was insane what it could do. I immediately downloaded it and then started using it, and my head exploded.
Yeah, I feel like it depends what your first DAW experience was to which ones you're able to really get. Because for me, I cannot get Logic. Like, that's the one that I just was like, I can't figure out the workflows.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also the reality is I've spent so long being good at my DAW, it's frustrating to get in and be like...
Exactly. Because you know what you want to do. You're just like, where is the set up a track button? It's so simple, but can't find it. Yep.
I think that's why some people move to Reason, because you can copy shortcuts and keys and stuff across. So if you came from Pro Tools or Logic or whatever it was, there's templates, or what do they call them? Skins, I think they call them, where you can,
that's right.
Where you can do that. But yes, Ableton is a DAW I hear all the time now. All right, so I have the flu, so I'm not going to give you the handshake, so I'll give you the elbow.
That's where it's at anyway, right?
Thank you ever so much.
Yes, thank you very much.
I'm glad I found you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you kill it, by the way.
Oh,
so
thank you.
We'll have links to all of your socials, as they like to say, and everything. And thank you ever so much. If you have questions, please leave a bunch of questions below, and have a marvelous time recording and mixing.
To know it's